Today on The Sam Alex Show, Olympic gold medalist and author Scott Hamilton
I've only fallen like 41,600 times minimum.
on his new children's book.
It's a soft place to land for children when their parents are talking to them about cancer.
On finding your purpose.
When you're trying to establish kind of where you want to go in your life, there's this accounting process that takes place where you check your inventory. For me, it was like, okay, physical size. Okay, short. NBA, no, it's not going to happen.
Plus,
My Olympic gold medal lived in a brown paper bag in my underwear drawer for 8 years.
all next on The Sam Alex Show. Scott Hamilton is an Olympic champion and author of the book Frizzy Finds a Hat. Scott, thanks for being on the show.
Oh, it's my pleasure. What a fun project Fritzy was. And it's getting into the good hands, and we really want to support people that are going through cancer, and how do you talk to your children about something so delicate. And we find Fritzy is a nice, gentle way, or as someone told me in New York recently, it's a soft place to land for children when their parents are talking to them about cancer.
What ages do you recommend the children are who read the book?
Well, I think, any children's book is kind of in that range of, where you can really start to reading to your children, whatever age that is. I think once they start getting up around 10 or 11, they kind of, I want to be reading maybe something else. But for me, children's books are universal. In this really crazy world we live in, sometimes it's great to go back and just read these classical, beautiful children's books, is just to fill our own hearts with, something sweet and kind and put us into a happy place.
How did you partner with Brad Paisley, who did the amazing illustrations?
I asked.
Okay. You just got to ask. Sometimes it's that easy.
Well, the thing is he's a really great artist, and he's very artistic he's a great songwriter, great singer, great guitar player. My goodness, you just spend any time with him, you see that he loves art. So when Fritzy came about and they were looking for an illustrator, I said, well, let me reach out to some friends. And I reached out to Brad, and he goes, yeah, I'll do it. It's like, okay, that was easy.
Well, I love in your last book, you talked about finding your purpose. So I want to talk about how people can find their own purpose coming up here with Scott Hamilton. Scott Hamilton is our guest. His book is Fritzy Finds a Hat. But in your previous book, Scott, I really love how you talked about how people could really should just find their purpose. But if people are kind of lost in this crazy time, how can they find that purpose?
Well, in our history, there's never been more distraction. You've got, smartphones, you've got computers, you've got all this stimuli coming at you all at once. And it's really easy to get swept up in all of that. And, for me, it's like when you're trying to establish kind of where you want to go in your life, there's this accounting process that takes place where you check your inventory. It's like, in that regard, when you check your inventory, it's like physically, what is my body meant to do? Mentally, what am I, kind of where's my sensitivities and where's my head, and how am I able to take in information? And then you get into the artistic side, that's beyond the performer side, because you can be very artistic without putting yourself out in front of people. And there's all these different categories of the inventory that you can check off the box. And for me, it was like, okay, physical size. Okay, short. Okay, NBA, check. No, it's not going to happen. Okay, NFL, not going to happen. Okay, what else? So it kind of like, you're kind of I was funneled into this idea of like where I, with my size, if I want to be athletic, there's a few things that I can do where I can leverage my physicality into something good. And so I was very, I guess, lucky that they happened to build a skating center at Bowling Green State University, where my dad was a professor. And I was able to, take Saturday morning classes. And that was like, man, I could do something as well as the best athletes of my grade. Self-esteem for the first time. So I just wanted more of that, more of that, more of that. And that kind of revealed one thing I could really do as a purpose, get into skating as an athletic entity, play hockey for fun, just be a rink rat, but for others, it's different. Go to where what brings you joy. Go to where things just feel right and feel comfortable and feel like, yeah, I'm good in this space, and go there enough where you can ultimately kind of reveal what you're good at and what you're naturally prone to do.
Amazing. We got some viewer questions for you, Scott. Are you ready for some
Oh,
hard-hitting questions from your fans? You
absolutely.
feel okay? You got some water or some whiskey, or
Morning
Brad
fog.
Paisley would say, some alcohol in there?
No, just getting started.
All right, we'll be back right after this. We're back. Scott Hamilton, our special guest. Frizzy Finds a Hat is his children's book. Make sure you check it out. And we got some fan questions for you, Scott, from Jordan. He
Wow.
wants to know, where are all your medals? And Jordan says he's a freshman in college. He would love to be an Olympic broadcaster. What advice do you
Wow.
have?
Well, let's start with the medals. My Olympic gold medal lived in a brown paper bag in my underwear drawer for 8 years before I could finally get rid of it. It was kind of this thing. I didn't know why it offended me, but it was just sort of this thing where I just didn't like. There's a couple of things that happened right after the Olympics. One, the governor of Colorado invited me to his office. I thought it was, sort of a publicity thing, like a photo op thing. So I got my jacket and tie and everything, and I went in, and he just wanted to talk to me about the hometown hero syndrome, about how you can get carried off the field at the end of winning a big thing, and then you're stuck in that moment, and your rest of your life is kind of like disappointment because of that. He just wanted me to make me aware of that. I thought that was a really incredible gift, and so that kind of fed into my medal being kind of stuffed into a bag in the bottom of a drawer, and so in 1992, I was inducted into the World Figure Skating Hall of Fame. And the museum said, would you like us to put anything on display, or do you have anything you'd like to donate? And I just said, would you take everything? And they go, what? And I go, everything. Will you just take everything? And of course, we'll take everything. And so I gave them everything, every medal I ever won, every trophy I ever won, every costume I could find at the time that was competitive in nature, everything, it's yours. And it was such a relief. And I didn't understand till later, when I really got into my faith walk, that it was an idol and it offended me in some way. It was like, yeah, you can get stuck in that moment. I've seen so many people in the Olympics get so caught up in that moment that it diminishes the rest of their lives. So I just didn't want to be that guy. So yeah, U.S. Figure Skating Hall of Fame Museum, they have everything, everything. The other side of it is how to become an Olympic broadcaster. Well, that's a great question, because, the new paradigm in broadcasting is there's a lot of people that really want to do it, and they look at it as kind of a career opportunity or whatever, but there's very little, unless you're like a play-by-play guy and you do a lot of different sports, you can leverage that into a big contract. To be like an Olympic broadcaster as an analyst, man, people are just crawling all over each other to get those jobs. And, you know, generally, unless you're kind of the anchor person in that chair at the Olympics and the nationals and all the other competitions, you're probably not going to make a lot of money doing it. So it's really great to get into more of that play-by-play role of really becoming like the Al Michaels or the Mike Tirico, or anybody that can sit in that chair and be kind of the go-to guy that can really like handle a sport. Tom Hammond with racing, and he did figure skating for a while. To broadcast an Olympics is a huge honor, and you've got to be really strategic on where you go and what your knowledge base is, and that's one way of getting into the gig. But it's what's really great too is to learn every aspect, really understanding the television business and how it works with, oh my goodness, editing. And so many sportscasters I know and television stations, they go out with their cameraman, or they are the cameraman. They shoot it, they come back, they edit it, they voice it, and it's on the air.
One man band.
And to have that knowledge of the whole thing of how to edit, how to voice, how to write, how to do all that stuff can really put you in a great position to, get the gig. But, it's a tough one. But, with the summer games, especially, there's so many sports and there's 5 networks and they're 24/7 and it's like crazy. So they need all hands on deck. So I wish that that question asker the best of luck in their pursuit.
Okay, we're running low on time here, so we got just some rapid fire questions here. Evan wants to know, how do I get my 5-year-old interested in skating? Well, how old were you when you
Learn to
started?
skate. I was 9, but learn to skate, learn to skate. Hockey, learn to skate. Speed skating, learn to skate. Get into a learn to skate class, because learn to skate teaches you the fundamentals: how to fall down, how to stand up, how to skate backwards, how to skate, use your edges. It teaches you how to just that, learn to skate. Just get into the learn to skate first, and really get into learning how to skate well. And then you get into whether you want to go into speed skating or hockey or figure skating. It kind of like you're drawn to whatever's next, but learn to skate no matter what. If you want your kids to play hockey, learn to skate. Get into a learn to skate class. And it's really fun to get those fundamentals. And then by the time that you wouldn't put your kid in soccer if they didn't know how to run, right?
Right.
Yeah. So learn to skate is key.
And I would assume too, learn how to enjoy falling and failing.
Well,
right?
yeah, I've only fallen like 41,600 times minimum. Yeah, I mean, it's, that's what's cool about skating is it builds that muscle in your psyche that you're going to fail. You're going to fail. It's about getting up. You just get up. Oh, I failed. Get up. It's like, using the analogy of like if you're in baseball and you only fail 2 out of 3 times, you're in the Hall of Fame. It's going to happen. And we're so paralyzed by the idea of failure right now that it's almost like toxic. So if we can, process failure and kind of look at it as purely information and feedback, that gives us an opportunity to be successful.
It's like a master class. Like you get so much knowledge about what not to do the next time. It's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a great thing. It's a gift.
I've heard you say that number before, how many times you've fallen down. How did you add that up?
Well, we were sitting there trying to figure out, it's like, well, how do I really represent failure in a positive way? And it's like, okay, well, as a skater, I mean, the first thing you learn is how to fall down and how to get up. That's the first thing you learn. And you don't even do it on the ice. You do it off the ice before you take your first steps on the ice, because you want to know how to get up, right? You need to know how to get up. And I thought about it. It's like, well, if I fell, I did 6 hours a day. And then you calculate minimum, 3 falls. And then you come up with this number, and it's minimum. It's really minimum. I'm sure it's a lot more. And some of those falls were at big times. Than my first nationals, I fell 5 times. So that's 5 of the 41,600. But it's probably more closer to 100,000. But that was the number I came up with, just to show that once you learn how to get up, and it becomes a habit, you don't allow things to knock you down, depress you, or to make you feel like defeated and awful. Isn't this terrible? It's like, no, you just get up.
Was that 5 times in one routine?
Yeah, in 3 minutes. I don't know how I had time in 3 minutes to fall down 5 times and get up 5 times, but I did. And it's one of those great things where it's like, I'm so grateful for that, because it you just get back on the horse. You just get back on the horse. You just keep trying, just keep going. We're going to go back again, and we're going to keep doing this until I get it right. And that's what, falling down and getting up really teaches you.
It's, you're so unique because being an elite athlete, people were watching you. You were on camera. It wasn't just like us on our own with our parents or a teacher.
Well, I know, but even when I was pro, you have all these people that show up, and if you go to the Eagles, you don't want somebody to, break a string in the middle of a, guitar solo, or have their voice crack in the middle of a harmony, but what I learned in skating is, as long as you give 100% effort, the audience sees that and they respect it. Even if you fall, they know that, man, he's given everything he's got, and he's trying his hard stuff, and he's given us his best. And there's a relationship there that really works. So even if you're pushing the levels and you're making mistakes, as long as you respect your audience and give them 100% effort and the best you've got, they're going to respond to it in a really powerful way every single time.
Our last viewer question here, we got a note on Facebook from Mary. She just found out her mother diagnosed with cancer. She's just wondering what advice you have for the family to support her.
Well, as caregivers, it's really a tough thing, because you're standing on the out. It's like you're trying to help, but unless you've been through cancer yourself, it's really hard to be put in a position where you truly are empathetic and understand. That's why, when I survived my cancer, I lost my mother to cancer, but when I survived my cancer, I decided to start a mentoring program called the Fourth Angel. So the idea was your first angel is your oncologist, your second angel is your oncology nurse, your third angel is your friends and family. What was missing in the equation was a fourth angel. And the fourth angel is someone who's been there, done that, are through to the other side, and they can work as a mentor, as a role model, a life coach. They pair caregivers as well. So when a caregiver is feeling totally helpless and they don't know what to do, they have that kind of information and support of somebody that's been there, been through it, done that. And they can give them, positive ways of really supporting somebody, but generally just being there, responding to their needs, doing healthy things, keeping people moving, because, movement is key to life, and we got to keep moving, and we got to get that blood flow going and oxygenation and everything. And the more you can keep somebody moving through their chemotherapies and everything else, the quicker they'll heal and the more potent the chemotherapy can be, because again, your body is now working and moving and processing. So in some cases you can't do that, but I'm truly sorry they're going through it. But we're trying to make that better through my Scott Cares organization, and people want to, learn more about what we do and how we do it, go to scottcares.org.
And everyone should follow you too on your Instagram. So inspiring. Love what you're doing. Love your Instagram
Oh man!
stories.
So
thank you.
our ribbon, our cancer ribbon, is upside down because, well, one, I spent most of my skating life upside down, but the other part of it is it shows victory over cancer, and that's kind of what our plan is change the way people are treated for cancer and allow their own bodies to, wake up, recognize the cancer, destroy the cell through an immune response to cancer. So that's the research that we fund, and we're very optimistic, as you can see by our ribbon. And we're going to win. We're going to win. We're going to win. And but while people are going through it now, make sure that you have all the information as well. I'm not so much a believer of second opinions as I am of seventh opinions. There's so many ways to treat cancer now that it just comes down to finding the best way for you, and really understanding your condition to make the best decisions on treatment.
Well, coming up, our final segment with Scott Hamilton, we're going to play a game of this or that. Rapid fire. That's right after this. Scott Hamilton, our guest. Frizzy Finds a Hat, his children's book. Make sure you get it. And we're going to play this or that right now. Scott, are you ready?
I'm totally locked on. Let me get a sip of coffee and then I'll be really ready.
Double sow cow or triple toe loop?
Triple toe loop. I think it's more points.
This or that? Ice cream or gelato?
Ice cream. I just love Jenny's ice cream.
Yes.
Shout out.
Me too. The one in 12 South? I guess all the locations are amazing.
I went to the opening at 12 South because I wanted to get a picture with Jenny.
Yes.
Stalker fan.
Olympics or World Championships?
Olympics. It means more.
The Ohio State University Buckeye football or Cleveland Browns football? Or Bowling Green?
Ooh. Bowling Green. Yeah. It's funny because Ohio State has this winning thing and Cleveland doesn't. I love them both, but I'm always looking at my Falcons, who are really terrible right now, but I don't care. I love my Falcons.
Right, yeah, lastly, this or that? Front flip or back flip?
Oh, back flip. Front flip, I'd never see one on the ice because I think it's impossible. Back flips are fun. They float. They're easy. They go up and over. And I must have done, I don't know, 20,000 of them in my lifetime. But backflips are fun. Man, it took a long time to learn it, but man, they're so much fun. And they get a great reaction from. First time I did it was in Salt Lake City. Okay. Ice Capades. Nobody expected anything, and I put at the very beginning of the program just to make sure that I didn't have tired legs trying to do it for the first time. So I opened the routine with it, and the reaction from the crowd was like unbelievable. Yes. And it was like, oh, okay, that's like, give me some of that. It's like I'm hooked.
But did you ever attempt it off the ice before, or the first time you did the flips was on the ice?
No, I took a year to learn it. It took about a year of learning the movement, kind of, because everything in skating is rotate, right? You're going to rotate, and if same takeoff for Lutz, where normally for Lutz I rotate, you can't do that because you'll freeze in the air and then you'll crash and die. So you've got to learn to be really still and just go straight up and then over. And it's once you get that movement down, man, you get hooked. It's so much fun. I couldn't do enough of them.
Fritzy Finds a Hat is available everywhere books are sold. ScottHamilton.com, the place to go to get all your links to everything. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, @SamAlexRadio. Scott, thanks for being on the show. See you soon.
Oh, thank you. See you, Sam.